Okay, great. So let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this knowledge and learning space from Pirani Academy, where together we present different topics of interest in the world of risk management. I'm Isabela Campo, and it's a pleasure to be here today with all of you. On this time, the topic we'll be addressing is a very important AI risk management framework, a very interesting subject from which we'll learn a lot today. So to kick off this webinar, I'd like to welcome Alejandro Orrego, Pirani CEO, who will be directing this webinar today. Alejandro, hello, how are you?
Hi, Isabella. Thank you very much. I'm very good. And thank you all the assistants for joining to this risk management school. I think this is the first school from this year. So since a lot of time we haven't seen you. So thank you for being here. And as Isabella mentioned, we're going to talk about AI. Like this is the trending topic. Everyone is talking about AI. So some of the subscribers and the people from academy or even client ask, okay, Pirani, do you have any information that you want to share with us about AI in the world of risk management? So we put together some presentation for you. So as you can see in the AI risk management framework, there's an asterisk. So in a while, we're going to see why is that. So what we're going to talk about AI in risk management today. So the concept of risks and AI, the good and the bad, the challenges and what we can expect from that. I'm going to talk about there is any AI risk management framework exist or no. We're going to also talk about the MIT AI risk repository if you don't know that exists. And we're also going to have a overall about the ISO 44001. And then we're going to practice a little bit of in the software in Pirani. So let's start. Like the first thing, and I think this is like everyone is saying this, but what I want to share is AI is not here to replace risk managers or risk management teams. Is here to make us stronger, faster, and more resilient. So I always want to talk about risks as opportunities, not only as a bad thing, is something bad is going to happen. I really think that the AI is a huge opportunity for us, for risk management team to make a better job. So how can AI can support risk management teams? So I simplify in three categories. So the first one is data analysis and predictive models. Like, for example, we have in the AML product, we have like fraud prevention or anomaly detections of incidents or all the information that the teams are putting in the software or the transactions that they're using and making. So AI can help us to make that data analysis more efficient. And from that data, make predictive models to make better decisions. So the second point definitely is the natural language processing. Like we have the product of compliance, and we have a lot of clients that, okay, we want to track all the regulation that maybe we are exposed to, and there's a lot of regulation that we don't even know exist. So we can, with AI, like scanning regulation, analyzing incidents report based on the, again, natural language. So this is a very helpful thing that we can start implementing in Pirani or even either any other software or tools in the ecosystem. And the third is like automation and decision support. So sometimes we think that risk management is just register risk, register events, register incidents or whatever. But I think that the goal of risk management is not register risk. The goal is to help companies to achieve their goals. And so automating repetitive tasks and enhancing workflows, it suppose it will allow us to concentrate in the strategy and the goals of the company and not doing the repetitive things. So that's the thing that we definitely should take advantage of. But of course, there will be risks in the AI. So what are the risks of using AI in a risk management system or team? So I think that the first one is definitely the bias in the models. Like the AI learns from data, and if the data has bias, so will the model. So that creates an unfair and discriminatory outcomes. So this is the first one. For example, I have a case in North America that there is an airline that wanted to improve, to enhance the HR department and to make better hires. So they basically train the model. Okay, look who are the best person that we hire, like in the technology. So based on that information, like filter the future hirings. But what do you think was the outcome of that? The bias, because basically most of the technology people that they have was white male. So the AI guess that the best candidates were white male engineers. So that was that specific bias. And basically that AI, that model never going to hire like a Latin or black or any other ethnicity based on that bias. So that definitely is going to be a risk that we need to address. The second definitely is data privacy and regulation. AI depends on vast amounts of sensitive data, which exposes to breaches and fines if not managed properly. There's a lot of even teams or people in companies that are putting a lot of prompts into ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever. And if the user is like advanced and is creating very good prompts with a lot of information, that information is they given that information to some LLM or model, and that definitely have breaches and challenges that need to be addressed. The third is definitely the model drift and explainability. Like AI model lose accuracy as the environment changes. I mean, ChatGPT was not the same today that was 1 month ago or 3 months ago, and in the next couple of months is gonna be different. There's gonna be more features or more. The model is going to be more intelligent. So maybe the things that work today won't work tomorrow. So AI systems gives an output without a clear explanation of how they reach it. So maybe there's a lot of things that, okay, what you giving me that answer, for example, oh, because the model says so, and that's it. So we need to improve that aspect of the AI. And the fourth is definitely, and that's happening right now, is if we're talking about we can automate and make some processes easier and whatever, there's going to be an over reliance on automation. It's a blind trust on AI. So do you know how this work? Do you know what is the process for this? Oh no, the model is working. The model is doing the job. So if you, it's like the weak human oversight of this aspect. This definitely can be a risk or an opportunity to be addressed. So this is like the point, the starting point of this explanation. So again, some of the clients or subscribers are telling me, so there is an AI risk management or something that we can work to deal with this risk or to deal with these opportunities in order to make a good job of this. And this is basically the question that we wanted to address in this webinar. And of course, there's a lot of information in ChatGPT or in Google or whatever. But what I found and it was interesting is like the MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. For if you don't know, this is a huge reference like of education, academy, investigation. Actually, they built a report and try to answer that question. There is a framework that we can work with and then help us understand what are the AI risks for companies. So they started with this paper. So we're gonna send the presentation of this webinar. We can put the links even in the chat if you want it. So basically, the paper have 93 pages. It's public. I mean, you can read it for free. It's like you don't have to buy it. It was published in March 2025. This was very new. And one of the deliverables of this specific investigation was today, and maybe this is going to change in the future, they have 65 documents. Every document is a different framework of AI and the risks of AI. So for example, this is just the document 2. In this document 2, they have a risk taxonomy, mitigation, and assessment benchmarks for LLMs. Remember, LLM or large language models is like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a LLM, or Perplexity is a LLM. It's a different. So they create this specific document is 1, and this is 55. So they compile all the information, and this is a live project. It's like 2 months ago there are no 60 documents, 65. There were less, but they are building it. And you can also, we're gonna put it in the links in the presentation. You can read every single document, because maybe let me share, like, if you click on this is the current presentation of the MIT. Like, they have like this table of contents, and you can click on this specific document 2, and you can click on the actual document. That this is the Cornell University. This is the overview, and you can view the PDF. This is for free. This is open knowledge for you. So I think this is very interesting. So then you can navigate and see the whole document of this specific framework. That again is for LLMs specifically. So a little bit, this is heavy, apparently, with the tables. So I think this is very helpful if you want to deep into this specific, and again, this is university investigations. So again, let's go back here. So this is only one of the 65 documents, and another document that they have is the causal taxonomy of AI risks. So let's take a look on this. So for example, for every risk that they can register or put it in the document, they have, for example, the entity. It's like the risk came from a decision made by the AI system, or due to a decision or action made by humans, or ambiguous, because we don't have the specific answer for that. Like the intent, like the risk is due to unexpected outcome for pursuing a goal, or unintentional, or ambiguous. And the timing is before the AI is deployed, the AI, sorry, or post-deployment, because after the AI model was trained and deployed. So again, there's a lot of like fields and categories that they can help us to understand. And also the MIT put like all the rigs that they have is like 1,600, like more than 1,000, and it's a lot of rigs that they put in the document. And they have basically, as there's a lot of rigs, they have 7 domains. Like one domain is privacy and security, the second, or discrimination and toxicity. Remember when we talk about bias in the models, or misinformation. And from the 7 domains, they have subdomains. So for example, for privacy security, have 2 subdomains of compromise of privacy by obtaining, leaking of currently interfering sensitive information. And again, these 7, I mean, we can say categories also help us to understand what's going on and what are the risks. So at the end of the day, what we wanted to help is maybe if you in your companies are, oh, how can I put some risks into my matrix or into my risk management system? Someone are doing that job. So I believe this, just go to the MIT and select what are the risks that maybe are interesting for you. And the most interesting part is they actually have a database. Like you can download again for free from the MIT the full database. It looks something like, let me share. I already download. Every time you download, they ask you to create a copy. So you will download a spreadsheet like this. Like they explain you the content, the causal taxonomy, everything, and basically in the domain taxonomy of the rigs and AI risk database. In this tab, you will find all different risks. And they tell you, for example, for what document is extracted. Let me put you a little bit bigger because it's not seen very well. Yeah, so they tell you the description and the intent, the entity, the domain, the subdomain. The not that good part is this a lot of information. I mean, this again, like 1,600 rigs for different categories that you can work with. But what are we here? So of course we won't have the time to take a look or deep dive in every single risk of AI that you can put it in your companies. But at the end of the day, we also think that, again, risk management is not about registering risks. So you won't be able to, maybe if you are paranoid, okay, I'm going to track all the thousands of risks of AI. I'm going to put it in my organization and in my risk management system. But I won't believe you will be able to actually manage those risks. And maybe there's like an overreaction of this. So because remember, this is just the identification of the risks, but the value of risk management is when you run the whole cycle, like the risk rating, what are the risk management strategies or the treatment that you're gonna do or follow after you identify that specific risk, how you're gonna monitor, what is your continuous improvement of that. So what we want to share is, well, a software like Pirani, or I hope many others, will help you to navigate with that uncertainty or the challenge of managing risks of AI. And also, I wanted to share that maybe your point is like, oh no, maybe yes, I identify, or my problem is not the AI risk. Maybe you already identified the risk for your company. Maybe you already consult in the MIT AI repository. But then, okay, how can I comply or how can I do the things correctly into this, again, uncertainty of AI in the risks? So the ISO standard also launched or published the ISO 42001, that is the world's first international standard for artificial intelligence management systems, published just in December 2023. Because AI is powerful, but without governance, is risky. So it provides a comprehensive set of requirements and guidance for organizations to establish, implement, maintain, and continuously improve processes governing the responsible development of use of AI systems. So maybe you say, okay, my problem is not identifying risks. It's like I want to be, or I want my company is responsible. I have a system to manage this. How can my employees or my collaborators dealing with AI information or they with the models, or even for the third-party risk management? Okay, I want to hire a company that I know have an AI model or assistant or whatever. So maybe you can put it into your requirements for the third-party risk management that company is ISO 42001 compliance. For example, in our case, we are ISO 27001 compliant because our clients want to be sure that their information is secure in the software. So now Pirani is in the process to get certified into the ISO 42001 in order to our clients is like safe or like they feel safer because we're dealing with our risk management model correctly. So you can also take a look on this ISO in order that maybe you want to get certified in ISO 42001, or you want to require that your vendors or suppliers are ISO 42001 like certified, because remember the ISO, every ISO that finishes in one is because it's a certified ISO. So if we are ISO 42001 is because we are an auditor came into my company and certified that the use of AI and the processes and the governance have as international standard. So aim to foster ethical, secure, and transparent deployment of AI technologies with their organizational processes. If you want, we can also run a specific risk management school talking about this ISO. Because again, this webinar was about the overall, like there is a AI framework, there's something that we can start with in order to have a better understanding, but in the future schools, we can dive into any specific. This ISO is very interesting. Basically have two key features and purposes. The first is a structured AI governance. Like the ISO 42001 sets out a framework for managing risks and opportunities associated with AI, balancing innovation with governance. It helps organizations design, develop, and deploy AI technologies in alignment with ethical principles and regulatory requirements. And also covers the life cycle. So the standard covers all stages of AI system life cycle from conception and the development through deployment and ongoing. So Pirani is in the process to get certified because again, this is new and it was all actually difficult to find an auditor that are prepared to get the audit and to get certifications. We are in the process of that. I think, Isabella, there's a lot of chat or questions. So in a moment, I hope we can answer those. So yeah,
Sure.
this is basically remember that the concept of the masterclass of the risk management school is 20 minutes of theory or the information that we want to share with you. And the next step is like the practice in the software. So why we wanted to create this space and what can Pirani do with this. So for those of you that don't know of Pirani is a risk management platform, but we also create an AI assistant. So if you're in Pirani, there's a copilot that basically helps you to the first the scope at the beginning was we wanted to help our clients to identify those risks because some of clients say, okay, I don't know, I don't know how to start. It's like the blank page. I don't know if maybe we run our process, we have the meetings, the boards that we define some risks, but I mean the risks are starting every day in the times that we're running. So maybe you define some risks 1 year ago or 3 months ago, but what about the emerging risks? What about the AI risks, for example? So the thing is, you in the Copilot, you can ask, okay, um, uh, the startup from the food industry. Can you give me some risks? So remember that an LLM or AI is as good as the prompt, as the context that you put into. So if you go to the MIT rigs repository, you're gonna find again more than 1,000 rigs, and maybe some those rigs will not apply for you. They are not relevant for you. So maybe you're gonna the time that you're gonna invest in reviewing all those rigs is gonna give you a lot of time. So when we're talking about, I don't know, remember how can AI help us to be more efficient or to be more resilient or faster? I think it's like this. So in Pirani, so for example, okay, so they give us some suggestions or rigs. So they just give me the information. So if I want to, and you create the first one in the software, please. I'm sorry, I'm the team that say please and thank you to the to the ChatGPT and the models. So they asking me if I want to create this specific with the description. I click yes, and they're going to create the rigs in my matrix. So if I go into rigs, the assistant create the rigs for me. Of course, they create the rigs. The rating is up to me, so they create a risk. Now I'm gonna edit it with the name and description that they suggest me, and now then I can rate in my knowledge of that. So I can start with that. So also what we wanted to share is how Pirani train this model, because remember, an AI model, you need training, need information to suggest those risks. So one of the sources of this copilot is the MIT risks repository. So, and this is just one of the sources. We have plenty of sources of information, plenty of documents, because remember, the MIT are only risks from AI, but there's plenty any other rigs in the world. So basically, we train our copilot, we train our assistant with a lot of information from universities, from ISOs, from standards, to make the knowledge of the assistant. So one of the sources is, for example, if I minimize the window, we can keep talking about that stuff. But if I close the window and open again, it's like starting a new conversation from a different topic. So, okay, maybe we want to suggest, or even we want to know about risk. So we can talk like this is a 24/7 consultant or assistant in risk into your organization. So yeah, this is basically what we wanted to share with you in this school. So I don't know, Isabella, if there are any questions in the chat or in the answers, question and answers.
Well, not any questions right now, just some comments about the people, about what you're talking about the data and just about the MIT risk. So remember, everyone, you can check all of that information. We'll provide that to you, the presentation and the recording of the session. But if you have any questions, now will be a good time to leave them on the chat box or on the Q&A model so we can answer them for you.
Yeah, I think because the memories of the risk management school is going to be 1 week after the session, so it's going to be next Wednesday. So in order for you to get that information directly, like I'm going to put the link in the chat. So if you want to take a look on the software, no, sorry, the MIT, I put it in the chat, the link in the chat from the airisks.mit.edu. So you can see explain a video. So if you go to explore database, you go directly to the spreadsheets of all the rigs, and there's more documents here like the Caswell taxonomy, the paper, and the things here. So another thing that we want to share with you. So for example, if you want to work with this specific the causal taxonomy. So okay, I want to create those rigs, and I want to be very specific and strict with the information that we want to have in those risks. You can create those fields in Pirani, for example. So, okay, I want to track all the AI risks for my company. So, but I want to create the fields that help me to the categorization of the information. So maybe I can create the level of the risk and the entity or the intent and the timing, so I can create those specific fields in the risks. So for now, I have the basic treatment that I want to have for that specific risk. So maybe I'm gonna put like a new division to say AI risks taxonomy, and I'm gonna have new field that are going to be the entity, for example, and it's gonna have a single selection menu, and it's going to be like AI, human, and other. That is gonna be required, and I'm gonna create a new field, for example, of not the taxonomy, but the domain. And it's gonna be a single selection menu, and it's gonna be like AI system failure, just to give you an idea of what we can do. So if you want to follow this specific framework, but again, there's plenty of framework that you can work with. And also point that it's going to be required. I'm going to publish. Again, this is just an example of what information you want to track of the rigs if you want to do this. So you can customize the software to put that specific information into your risk matrix. And then it's going to take a few moments because they need to create those fields for all the risks that we already created. But I think this is a hand raise, maybe. So for example, this is we created the AI enabled quality control as a risk. So I can then enter to put the information. So the AI taxonomy, so the entity is going to be the human, and the domain will be again, this is as an example. And so then you can save the changes. And then in your matrix, if you want to work with like different rigs, so then you can filter all the rigs that you have. Like I have like plenty of rigs here. Okay, filter all the entity that are the human. I can't remember that what I put in the, okay, quality control inconsistency. So if you choose a framework that applies for you, that makes sense for you, we can create all the taxonomy of those rigs and the information that you want to track in the software. So I'm gonna share, so this.
Yeah, we have two questions. One from Sean, and Sean is asking, does Pirani allow for quantitative methods like Monte Carlo simulations or scenario analysis, or is it primarily qualitative scoring?
Well, we have right now the bow tie analysis, like to follow the track of causes, consequences, and a barrier or a control for every single one. Let me share further risk analysis, because that's a very good question, because what we put is the risk register is just the first step of the process. Okay, maybe you have the list of 1,000 rigs and you want to work with the 1,000 rigs. Okay, what's next? So the next is the risk evaluation or risk analysis or the risk rating based on something, right? So again, we also have a risk management school talking just of the risk evaluation or analysis, but there's always new people. So for example, let's keep working with this specific risk. So the first thing is, okay, we're gonna make the rating. So this is the direct approach. This is the first one, the most common of people are using. But maybe you say, okay, we want to rate the risk from different variables. So from the financial perspective, from the reputational. So you can also do that. We're gonna go to the risk rating. I'm gonna change by variables. In this case, for impact. So maybe, okay, I'm gonna rate the financial, the reputational, the health and safety. You can also change, maybe in your company are not these 5 categories, but 4, and different specific, there are not this or another, and you can change the descriptions for your company. So for example, in my company, the financial performance will be any specific. So in this case, we're gonna rate by variables and we're gonna save. So this is your methodology. So when we go to risk, and we're gonna rate this specific, now instead of a direct approach, we're gonna have the financial performance, and insignificant is losses under $100, or major is losses between 10,000 and 100,000. So this is the first one to improve, to enhance the analysis. But if you're working, for example, with the bow tie, okay, what are the causes and consequences of this specific risk? So you can create, we have some previously created, but you can create a new one in the causes and consequences. Remember, this is for the bow tie analysis. And you can create causes and consequences. So maybe I'm gonna create a cause. And I'm gonna say that this is gonna be a cause. And maybe this is come from infrastructure, from technology, and the description of the cause. And we can create that cause. And in that case, we're gonna have the risk, the cause, and the consequences. And then we can apply controls if I want to mitigate. So when I create the control, this is just an example, and when we're gonna associate it with some risk, we can say if this is going to be mitigate the impact of the livelihood, or even associate with the specific cause or with the specific consequence as a barrier into the bow tie analysis. And we're gonna launch, and you also mentioned Monte Carlo, and we're gonna launch the Monte Carlo. We have the Monte Carlo analysis actually in the first version of the software, but we deleted, but we're gonna contemplate it again with the uh, capital requirements analysis for rigs, and we're gonna launch that in a month, like in the last week of September. So keep updated into the product updates. So we're gonna launch that feature as well.
Good, perfect. Let's continue with Lionel's question. Lionel is asking, can you also use AI to suggest some risk controls for certain risks?
That's a very good question. So right now, you can ask like remember the assistant is like your ChatGPT or LLM, so you can give the information. Okay, maybe they already suggest you some specific risks, so you can ask it, okay, can you give me ideas of controls for that specific risk? So today, the only thing that you won't be able to do is to create the control in the software. But we're gonna launch that feature this quarter. So I hope it's gonna be like again in next month in September, that from the same way you can create the control, sorry, the rigs from the assistant, you will be able to create the control directly in the software from the assistant. Because today it only gives you the description of the control and suggestions, but in a month you will be able to create it in the software.
Good. Great, thank you. Now we have Guillermo's question. Guillermo is asking, what about of database recommendations for standard control relations for the database of risk? What about that?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't like if the AI assistant have also information of the controls.
It's more,
Is this that? Yes. For example, there's plenty of frameworks of controls. The specific that came into my mind is if you're working with the ISO 27001 of information security, the ISO have an Annex A about with controls. So it has 93 controls in the last version of the ISO 27001. So those controls, you can either import it in the software, the list exactly to have those controls in the software, but also those controls I provided into the AI assistant to give you information. So you have the same example that we give you with the MIT AI repository. You can either import it, or maybe I don't show that in the software. Is my bad. Just to give you the for every module, for example, in controls or in rigs, you can create it from scratch. You can ask the assistant to help you, or you can import. Maybe you already have, okay, maybe you want to import the Excel of the controls, for example, from the 93 controls for the ISO 27001, or you filter and create a specific risk that you already have previously. So you can import it either in controls, in risks, but also the original source was the training for the copilot. So I hope that answered your question.
good, great. And lastly, Sean wants to clarify more his question. He says, from my understanding, Pirani is mainly a GRC platform, strong in risk registers, controls, compliance, and reporting. But in risk management, we also work with large data sets like exposures, catastrophe data, and loss histories to run simulations and quantify risks. Am I correct that Pirani is more focused on qualitative governance and workflows rather than deep quantitative modeling, unless integrated with external tools?
Well, that's a very good question and observation. Yeah, today, yeah, we are a platform that helps you to run the whole cycle from the register to rating analysis. If you want to mitigate, put the controls, say what's going to be the residual risks, monitoring. There's a lot of reporting, and I think the most important thing of the quantitative today is, let me show you a report. I think for me, the heart of a risk management strategy is this, the continuous improvement and the monitor and report. Not the report that you send to the regulator or the board. It's like the information that the software or the platform gives you. So one of the most important reports that our clients work with is when the risk is the risk that you declare that may happen, but the events, the tracking of the events is when the risks are actually happening. And for any single event report that you can create in Pirani, you can track. So for example, you can track all if it is, for example, if this specific, I know this is closed, sorry, let's open an open event. So you can track if this is an, after the events one reported, it was an incident, a near miss, an issue, and you can track the losses and recoveries. So maybe because this specific event happened, we need to pay like a fine or an insurance policy or whatever. So at the end of the day, you can go to reports and have the information of how many losses and recoveries are in my system. So I know that from, again, this is a demo environment, but these specific risks or process are costing me, like this risk is costing me $20 million based on the specific data of these reports. So that gives you information. Okay, maybe I don't know, I put likelihood in unlikely, but based on the events tracking, it's not unlikely, it's very likely. But also you have the information of all the loss recoveries, maybe recoveries for insurance, usually, and the net amount of losses. So this gives you the information, not just qualitative, but quantity of how many money are you losing because of risks actually happening. And again, we are developing the capital risk requirement for this, and it's gonna be launched in a month. So that's that's very important from the academy and these efforts of Pirani, because also we can receive the feedback of our clients, of the users. So what kind of features you would like to have in the software? So that help us a lot to create the features that the risk management team actually need. So I hope I answer your observation, Sharon, and thank you very much for putting that in the chat.
Okay, very
Mhm.
good. Well, Shan wants to ask one last question. Based on what you just told us, he would like to know whether Pirani has plans to expand into more quantitative risk analytics, such as scenario modeling, the ones that he mentioned. So
Mhm.
users can combine governance with deeper risk quantifications in this platform.
Good, definitely. And stay tuned because next month we're gonna launch, and this is a big feature that we're working out of the capital risk requirement, and definitely because
Okay,
that's the challenge of the teams. It's not just register risk, register risk, register risk, just the subjective approach, but the translating that into money and in growth and capital and quantitative. So definitely not just Pirani, but I hope all tools out there are working in that. And
great,
that's pretty much the
awesome.
same. It's like, oh, yeah, we took almost the hour. Thank you very much. So we're gonna send this information will be in the academy, but we will send you the email with the recording of the webinar, with the presentation in PDF. So you will have all the information that you share. And after this, we're gonna have this some survey that please rate this conversation and also put in the survey what topics you would like to address in new and in future schools. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Isabella. This was your
Thank you.
first risk management school as a host.
Yes.
Good.
It was great. And
Okay.
thank you everyone for the assistance.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Have a great day.